technology and human together can make fairer and faster decisions than technology or human alone.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Welcome everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out in the podcast chair. You are listening to the first, the original, the most listened to, the longest running podcast for real estate appraisers in the world. Folks, I was looking the other day, over 700 episodes so far. Isn't that cool? 700 episodes. That means I turned on this microphone 700 plus times and spouted information. Great to be with you. I want to pause here and tell you we are sponsored by three great companies, of course, a la mode being one of them. Been using a la mode, folks, for over 20 plus years. There's a reason. They're number one. They are the best. Check them out. Go to alamode.com or 800 alamode. We are sponsored by DataMaster. DataMaster is saving appraisers time, saving appraisers money. We're going to be talking technology today, folks, with my guest. And I just want you to keep that in mind. What technology does for appraisers. It saves you time, folks. It saves you money. It makes you better. That's what DataMaster will do for you. Find out more. Go to www.datamaster.com. And finally, we are sponsored by OREP Insurance. OREP is my choice for E&O. It should be yours as well, not just for what they give you on the insurance side, but the many benefits that you can find on their website. Find that at orep.org. Let me spell that for you. It's OREP.org. Well, folks, I can't wait to introduce you to my next guest. Very exciting to have Mr. John Liss on the program. John, welcome to the program, my friend.
Thanks, Dustin. It's awesome to be here.
It is awesome to have you. Let me tell you a little bit about John, and then we're going to have a discussion today. I think will blow your socks off. John was born and raised in New York City. He was obsessed with real estate from a very young age. I want to hear that story, John, when I turn the mic back over to you. He is a Harvard MBA. Which can be a little bit intimidating, but he speaks our language. He's passionate about life. He's passionate about the future of appraisal, and I'm just excited to have you on the program, John.
It's really exciting to be here. I've been waiting to do this.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Specifically, I'm really curious about your story. I've heard it before, about you growing up in New York and your obsession with real estate, and specifically the fact that I think most of us that are in real estate, myself included, got into it because our parents or somebody that we knew very closely was in it. But that wasn't your case, was it?
No, I really got into real estate because I was always looking to move from the suburbs back into the city. And so by the time I was kind of 10, 11, I started to research in the New York Times potential listings to get my parents to move. I had two older brothers. They were both out of the house. And I said, Mom and Dad, it's time to go. And I then kind of, started doing work with this woman in a real estate office. She managed a brokerage. And by the time I graduated high school, I started working full time as a broker and really loved the art of making a deal. We were really successful. It was 2011, 2012. The market in New York City was absolutely booming. And from that experience, I started to really learn the ins and outs of the real estate market, understanding how data can contribute to making better decisions. And from there, it was just kind of smooth sailing and always, focused on how can I make the real estate world a better and bigger place.
That is a super cool story. Tell us about square footage, because this is a story I think. Honestly, I've told it a couple times to people, and as I'm telling the story, I'm thinking, did I get that right? Because that just seems bizarre. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest learning for me was I saw all of these really sophisticated buyers and sellers transacting on a dollar per square foot basis. And as a broker, and I'm sure, most homeowners or, people searching for homes can resonate with this experience. the broker tells you that there's two different properties that are the same space, and you're just thinking there's no way these things are the same size, right? And so I actually went around in New York, took a 3D camera, validated this issue, and walked around and started measuring properties from all different types of properties, whether it was a townhouse or a condominium or a cooperative, and found that there was actually a discrepancy of 16%. And you have people really thinking, oh, I'm paying, $1,000 a foot or $2,000 a foot, or even much crazier numbers than that in New York. And in fact, those numbers were all a complete mirage. And it's really kind of brokers manipulating numbers to tell a story to get a deal across the finish line.
Other than square footage, John, what do you see are major issues in the appraisal industry today and into the future?
Yeah, I think the biggest issues are around a lack of communication and understanding, specifically in the appraiser community. Appraisers are not talking to each other. Appraisers
Really?
are being
Shocking.
Yeah. I think, we've gotten used to this kind of lonely island culture. And in fact, when you kind of can share ideas with each other in different geographies and learn what different people are doing, you can actually really optimize your own business. And I think the bigger issue really is appraisers are being totally misunderstood by other stakeholders in the ecosystem. And so we need to get everyone rowing in the right direction to get to a common goal of a better performing industry with higher quality products and a better lifestyle for the industry participants.
You and I met not too long ago, a couple months ago, and I remember the very first question you asked me was the very first question I just asked you regarding appraisals, and that is, what major issues are you dealing with as an appraiser? You and I had a great conversation about that, and I know, John, you sit in meetings with connected individuals, I'll call them. We're talking about GSEs, we're talking about big banks, we're talking about the movers and shakers of the valuation world. So my question for you, John, is as you've sat down with these individuals, what changes? And this is obviously a big question that I think most appraisers are asking on a daily basis. And I think they're feeling it, if not, experiencing it firsthand. What changes do you foresee coming into the valuation world in the next, couple years?
Before I get to that question, I think it's important to actually tell the story of how we met, because I think it was kind of an instant connection and it was pretty awesome. We're both extremely passionate about the real estate industry. You have an appraisal business, a media business, a mentorship business, a real estate investing office. I really, consider myself an aspiring student in the industry as well. I love brokerage, valuation, investing, thinking about the built environment more broadly. But let's talk about how this all went down. I was talking to Paul Rowe, who now works for us. And he said, you got to talk to the appraiser coach in Idaho. I said, give me his number. I called Dustin up. Within 5 minutes, I realized you're the real deal. And I say, I'm going to visit you. You thought I was crazy. I remember on the phone, you're like, who is this kid? I get there, you take me to a steakhouse at 11 a.m., you order a 30-ounce ribeye. I said, what game is this guy playing? He's trying to comatose me before we get to the numbers. And I just always will remember that, and I thought it was really awesome. So when you talk about, connected individuals, I think, you're the first person one of the first people I spoke to in the industry that clearly, has a lot of relationships in this industry. And, I heard firsthand from you what you see as some of the changes coming down the pipe, and I absolutely agree with those. I think there are some archaic rules around licensing and process that will certainly change, and that will allow us to get some new and different blood into the industry, which is extremely important, while protecting the people who have been in the industry for a long time and who have really kind of honed this craft. I envision a world where the appraisers are the kings and queens of the valuation industry and of the real estate industry more broadly. We need to rearrange the chairs, so to speak, and the entire industry should be rolling off of the valuations set by certified players. We know other groups have their own agendas and incentives to misprice and manipulate to, whether it's to get an exclusive on a property or for other reasons. And appraisers are in this really prime position to objectively provide opinion of value that is grounded in data and certified inspection. And I expect us to kind of continue on this march.
I have to I have to tell a little bit more about that story and why I thought, who is this kid? Not that you're a kid. You're younger than I am. But you called me, John, you called me at 5:30 on a Friday. This is the first time we had ever met. Again, Paul connected us. And literally, I think maybe an hour later, you texted me and said, I've got a flight to Idaho Falls from Seattle on Monday morning. I mean, who does that?
I like to move fast and I'm ready to go. And I really feel like I have unlimited energy. And I'm just so excited by what's happening right now in this industry. And I'm not planning to wait for anybody.
You know, when you asked me the question, what are the biggest challenges that appraisers are dealing with? I remember talking to you about trust. I remember talking to you about the concern that I had because most of the issues that come up for appraisers really boil down to trust. For example, the fact that many clients don't allow a mentor, an appraiser, a certified licensed appraiser, to send out their trainee who's been trained and qualified and is supervised to go out and do an inspection on their own is about trust. The fact that we are on every assignment for some clients, driving by homes and taking comp photos, even though we were there 2 weeks ago for another client, is about trust. And one of the things that you talked about that really inspired me and really perked my interest, John, was the fact that when I introduced you, or at least I'm sure it probably wasn't the first introduction to you on these items, but when we talked about these things, you said, okay, let's get those things changed. And honestly, John, in just the few months that you and I have known each other, I've seen clients move in those directions. And it's awesome, but appraisers hate change. What do you do about this idea that appraisers hate to move in a new direction? I don't think it's necessarily an appraiser thing. It's a human thing, right? We like our bubbles, but how do we break out of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't see change as absolutely necessary for everyone. You know, some people still want checks in the mail or want to use a clipboard and measuring tape, and they can still get the job done. But I think change is healthy in the sense that people can get to a higher quality of life and get to the jobs, the parts of the job that they love. And so that's why I think it's a really exciting time to be in this industry. We got people making way more money than they were in sole proprietorship. They have access to a network of people who love real estate and who have passions outside of the real estate world. They're able to, you know, mentor and scale teams and throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. They have location independence and freedom to delegate and try new things and live on the cutting edge. And I think, you know, this question around trainees, you see a lot of people moving in that direction on the lender side because we're also beholden to the departments of licensing across the country that have been really held back by COVID. So there are a lot of people who are stuck in trainee, who have been trainees for 2 years, who are really experienced people that don't really, you know, pose any sense of risk. I think also, you know, we have people of all ages, all shapes, all creeds, tons of veterans, all backgrounds. And it's a really just interesting time to be a part of a company in the valuation space. I feel like I get to speak to a new person with a different life experience every day, or I can shut in and be an introvert and get my work done when I need to be. And it's really choose your own adventure. So I think change is important, but it's really kind of a stepwise function. It's not, let's kind of blow the thing up overnight.
We're talking to Mr. John Liss. We haven't even said the name of his company yet. We're going to do that when we get back from the break. I want to pause here and talk to you about technology, folks. Talk to you about saving time. Let's talk about Data Master for just a little bit. I want you to imagine the number of minutes, the number of hours that you spend on each and every appraisal report in your office. And now I want you to cut that by about 45 minutes. And then I want you to times that by the number of reports that you do in a month and ask yourself if that isn't something that you want to be a part of. Folks, Data Master is doing that for appraisers across the nation. Check them out. Go to their website. Start there. Find out if they are in your area. It's datamasterusa.com, datamasterusa.com. Speaking of saving time through technology, it's all a mode, folks. I've been using them for over 2 decades. They've been in business for over 3 decades. It's all a mode. And folks, I'll tell you, there's a reason they're number one. I want you to take and just side-by-side comparison to each and every software out there and ask yourself why you're not with Alamode. Or if you are with Alamode, why not upgrade to the many tools that they bring to your office? Check them out by going to alamode.com. Better yet, pick up the phone. Call them. 800-ALAMODE. Talk to them. Tell them, hey, I'm with XYZ company. Why should I go with you? They will tell you. They will convince you. It's alamode.com or 800-ALAMODE. Finally, we're sponsored by OREP Insurance. OREP, of course, is the E&O that I have chosen in my business, that I have chosen to go with for years. I'll tell you, folks, E&O through OREP is a different experience than any other company. I know what you're saying. Dustin, is just insurance. They all compete. Okay, folks, go to their website, click on the benefits tab, and tell me if they're all the same. It's orep.org, OREP.org. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. I'm with John Liss. John, welcome back. We haven't even talked about your company name, True Footage. Tell us about True Footage.
True Footage is a residential valuation company. We work with appraisers to provide valuation services to lenders and individuals, and we're providing a wide menu of services in the valuation space. But we are in the first phase, or what I like to think of really as the first phase of a greater mission to clear paths to home ownership for Americans everywhere. And we believe fundamentally over the next 10 years, the platforms and paths on which we transact will be drastically different, and we're hoping to provide better experiences for the appraising community, for the lending community, for the American taxpayer who is backing the GSEs, and for borrowers and homeowners alike to really kind of promote paths to owning a home in America. Because, the truth is there's nothing more American than owning a house.
So you're an AMC.
No. So we're seeing something happen across the last couple of years where lenders are shifting their book of business away from the appraisal management companies and towards a direct engagement with appraisal company model. And that's a model that we are following. We still do work with some AMCs, the good ones, but most of our work is directly with lenders, and we have appraisers who are employees of True Footage, and they get a ton of benefits, access to equity, commissions. You name it. You can check it out on our website, but that's not the model that we're pursuing.
John, when we first met, I'll be honest with you, not knowing a whole lot about you, and you can imagine I get pitched by quite a few companies. I think companies want to tap into a network. They want to tap into a microphone. They want to tap into gaining relationships across the nation. And so it's not infrequently that companies come to me and pick my brain and want to be a part of what we're doing here at the Appraiser Coach. I will be very, very honest. From the first 5 minutes that you and I met, even on the phone, I could tell this was different. Talk to us about how True Footage is different than what is out there already.
Yeah, look, I get it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Appraisers are coming off of a 2-year boom. They're making so much money. They're used to their freedom. They're used to how things are. But I think that there's just so much opportunity with all of the technology changes and all of the kind of macro changes going on in the lending space to move over to a new way of doing things that maximizes outcomes for everybody involved. I mean, we're interested in growing the pie for everybody, and I think that's kind of the big message here. But I'm going to flip that back to you, Dustin. What seems different to you, and what gives you conviction that this is different? And besides, just taking my call, like what was it about it?
One of the biggest things that I see going on right now, and I think you'll see this as well, John, is there are companies popping up that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to state it, their express purpose is to replace the appraiser. And the first thing, once you said, I think the first question you asked me when we met in Idaho Falls a couple months ago was, what do you want in life? And you and I had to talk about that. I shared with you my answer to that and my vision and where I'm going in my life. And then I turned around and I said, okay, John, what do you want? And I remember, and this is a family-friendly program, so I'm not going to use the quote exactly, but you said to me, we're going to beat so-and-so at their game, and this is a big company out there, everybody would recognize it. We're going to beat so-and-so at their game using professionals. And I said, what does that mean? And we talked about the mix of technology and human resources. And one of the things I love about True Footage is they recognize the value of the professional appraisal and the value of the professional appraiser themselves. Talk to me about technology and human resources. What does True Footage do to bring these two things together?
Yeah, I think just quickly respond to what you were saying. There have been companies in the past that have tried to replace the appraiser, and look what happened. They completely overvalued the real estate markets and fell flat on their face, burning hundreds of millions of dollars. So we know that real estate's a local game and you need local expertise. And also, while we want to train up new people in the industry, you need the sweat equity of the best people in this game. You cannot just kind of, gloss over the fact that there are experienced people who understand the real estate market. They were there in 2009 when, appraisers were accused of being number hitters, and they've been here in 2021 when appraisers are getting accused of, not hitting the contract price. So you need to stay disciplined, and you can't just go wherever the wind blows. And I think that's a huge kind of learnings from building something that's enduring in this space, because we don't want to fall flat on our face and end up with another place where the real estate market is in trouble. And going back to this kind of, relationship between technology and human resources, because that speaks exactly to, what I was just saying. It's pretty simple. I think technology and human together can make fairer and faster decisions than technology or human alone. So we are building our own way of collecting the data so it's cleaner, which is a well-documented problem. And we are building data pipelines to make sure all support for the valuation has support. We're still using some of the systems that you just represented on this program, and they're great. But there's also opportunities to kind of mix a bunch of new technologies in the game. And I think this will allow for more standardized reporting, better reporting, and much less liability for the appraiser.
What does that mean to the appraiser who is in a small town in Kansas, for example? They're listening to this, they're driving around taking their comp photos, they're listening to this podcast, and they're saying, okay, Dustin, what's in this for me? I mean, what do you say to that small town appraiser who's just trying to make a living, trying to squeak out a living, is a little bit afraid of the changes that are coming down the pipe? What message do you have for that appraiser, John?
Call me. I think I'm more than happy to speak to you. We have a team of over 250 people now, and we are focused on finding the best things in each area and figuring out what are your problems, how can we help you? Because if you're in Kansas having that problem, then someone in Iowa's having that problem, someone in rural Alaska is having that problem, and you're not alone. And power in numbers, let's figure out how to solve this problem in the rural areas where there are some technology providers that can't get there, or the MLS is messed up for some reason. Let's figure this out together and find a bunch of ideas and kind of come up with a plan.
John, you asked me a question earlier about what did I see in True Footage when we first met. I'm going to make an announcement here today, folks, that will be a surprise to some, not to my team. I've already announced to them. They already know. They're all excited. But folks, let me put it this way. I was so impressed with what John and True Footage brought to the valuation world. And knowing what I know about where we're going in this industry, the changes that I foresee coming into this industry, it was a perfect marriage for us. And after 27 years of running my own business, I have merged forces with True Footage, and my appraisal business is now a part of the True Footage empire. It is awesome, John, and let me tell you something. This is something that I did not take lightly, as you know. This is something that took me a very long time to make a decision on. And even on the day of closing, I had second thoughts. We've been together for a couple of weeks now as part of the same team. And John, I cannot tell you every time I turn around how impressed I was talking to my wife 2 nights ago. And I said to her, in every single case, when I've been a little bit worried about asking something of True Footage and thinking that maybe I was outside the bounds, or maybe they're going to be in their own self-interest, and maybe they won't, do this, that, or the other. In every case, John, True Footage has bent over backward to make me happy, to do the right thing. And it is an awesome opportunity and experience to be a part of True Footage. So thank you, John.
We're really excited to have you. And I think integrity is the most important thing in the world. And, I like to deliver on my word. And I feel that, everything that I said I hope, we continue to deliver on.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. One of the great things about True Footage is their expansive empire. Tell me where you're going. What do you foresee the future looking like for True Footage, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we want to build a valuation company that is transformative and that collects a collection of people that are, really focused on delivering great valuation services all over this country. And I think that's the first step. But I generally believe that real estate remains this incredibly large market. It's the largest asset class in the world, and there's way too much friction in the whole process. There's too many steps, there's too many annoying parts, there's too many places where there's repeat information, and it's causing major clogs in the system. Let's take property data as an example. Why is it collected multiple times? The homeowner collects it, then the broker collects it, then the appraiser collects it, then the assessor collects it. And there's no kind of continuity in those places. So I genuinely believe that there's the need for this kind of data infrastructure to power the entire residential market and commercial market as well. So that's kind of the first piece. And then I'm a broker at heart. I love the brokerage world, but I also think that is going to change. And so the way in which we transact hinges on clean data. And I think that's a clear opportunity to build a marketplace, one day that allows for frictionless transactions.
Beautiful. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to answer the same question, but I'm going to let you take the first shot at it. The question is, why would an appraiser consider joining True Footage?
I think the first thing is fun. We're having a lot of fun. I think the second thing is cash, obviously. We're not going to beat around the bush. I think better clients, access to technology, a cool new group of friends, the ability to cross-train and work on other parts of the residential real estate industry as they become available. We already have people who have moved internally, shifted, taking on new responsibilities. We have programming where people can learn about different parts of the real estate industry, or access to mentorship and coaching. We have Blaine, who's another, fantastic coach. So I think there's a lot of reasons, and we're really in the first inning of a game that is really exciting, and I think there's kind of unlimited opportunity.
I have experienced that firsthand, and it has been awesome. One of the things we talked about when we started talking about merger is, I told you, John, I don't know if you remember this, I said, I'm not a corporate guy. I haven't been a W-2 guy in a long, long time. And we talked about that, and what does that look like? And the freedoms and the liberties that I have still are just amazing. But add to that, this team of people, these resources, the technology is absolutely blow you away incredible. This is a company with a lot of money backing it, a vision, a mission. And I'll tell you, John, it has not felt like, on the good side of being part of a corporate culture, it's been awesome. On anything that you can say negative about being part of a culture that is quote unquote corporate, I have not experienced that yet, and hope I don't. But True Footage seems to get it. They seem to understand the independent appraiser and the freedoms that the independent appraiser likes and enjoys, and it's probably one of the reasons they got into it in the first place. And it's awesome to be a part of a team, if you will, a group that gets it, understands the future. And folks, let's just talk brass tacks here for a second. The future of appraiser and the future of appraisal is changing. We know that. We see it. We experience it. You see companies growing and merging with other companies, and tech companies lining up with AMCs, and we see this happening, and many changes happening at the GSEs. Folks, I'll be there as your coach to guide you through those changes, but I'll tell you, it's sure great to be a part of a team that I can hook my wagon to and move in the direction of where I see these changes going. John, what did we forget? What parting words would you give for the listeners? Some things that you feel that we should have touched on that we didn't?
I think the future is exciting, and I'm incredibly optimistic about the role of appraisers and the role of people who have been, running this thing for the past couple of decades, on the ground every single day, filling out appraisal reports and doing great work. We are bright-eyed and hungry to tackle tough problems head on And I think that we see the future as an incredible opportunity. And while it won't look the exact same as yesterday, that's okay. We're building a legacy brand in the residential market, and this is a ground floor opportunity and one where appraisers can participate in the upside. So I think that's, what is really exciting about this.
John, how do people get a hold of you? How do they learn more about True Footage?
Check us out on our website, truefootage.tech. As you know as well, I don't put my phone down. So please add me on LinkedIn, reach out to me via email, reach out to us on our website. We will route you in the right direction. All of the people, whether it's Dustin or Paul or Blaine or others, please, reach out to them. 2022 is going to be awesome. We're ready to rock, and I just can't wait.
His name is John Liss. The company is True Footage. John, thank you for being a part of the program today.
Thanks, Dustin.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
But what changes do you foresee coming in the valuation for? Sorry, editor. Let's back up.